What is up, everybody? It's Cjplays here, and I'm back with another Sims 3 speed build. So today I'm going to be building a house that I'm going to call the Sunny Craftsman. It is for my Not So Berry series that I've been doing on my channel. If you don't know, the Not So Berry is a legacy challenge that you play through, but each generation is a different color, and then each generation kind of builds off of the next generation. So I really like this one. So the yellow generation is the third one. This house is going to be for my Sim Sunny and her imaginary friend. So this house ended up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, and honestly, when I was building it, I kind of forgot about the imaginary friend. So I'm gonna have to find him some room in this house though. But this house is so nice, y'all. Like, I love the way that it turned out. I don't know why, but I got like the idea for a Craftsman style house today because I don't really ever build them in The Sims, and then I was kind of inspired by the Craftsman set on the Sims 3 store. It's like a Craftsman set of items on the store. I don't own all of them, but I have like the outdoor like part of it. So I was like, why don't I make a house kind of like based off of those vibes in a way, but also try to make it kind of like colorful. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but I do love how this turned out. So I'm building this house in a world called Storybrook County. It is a custom world by My Sims Realty. I've played in here before on Twitch, but I haven't used this world for YouTube, and I don't think that I've done a world overview for it, so I might need to do that. If y'all want me to, let me know. I'll definitely do one. But I wanted a world that was a little bit bigger than Salmonwood. For whatever reason, Salmonwood was just kind of getting a little bit laggy. I think it was just because I've been playing there for a really long time. That's just kind of how it is when you play, you know, in The Sims 3. Save files just kind of get bloated after a while, so I knew that I needed to move somewhere else. So I was like, let me just use another My Sims Realty world, because they usually are really good for having like a lot of different types of lots and stuff like that. So we're gonna play here. Now, I decided to put a little greenhouse section to this house. So the idea originally was to have a rocket ship or a telescope, but The Sims 3 doesn't have those objects. Well, it has a telescope, but they're like really small. So I was like, why don't I try to find like some CC that would be like, you know, the conversion maybe of the telescope or the rocket ship. And I found one from around The Sims. However, the telescope is a little bit too big for this room, so I didn't end up using it. I had to just use like some Sims 3, like, you know, science objects. So yeah, kind of sucks a little bit. Like, it worked without move objects, but it just kind of like clipped through the roof, and I don't know if I like that. I might end up putting it back. We'll see how I feel. And I think I do originally want to like put down a little rocket ship object from The Sims 4. I think that'd be kind of cool in here. But moving on to the inside, I knew that I wanted to make the wallpaper like this yellowy brownish kind of color, because I kind of felt like it looked really good and it kind of gave off a Craftsman style, you know. I also ended up using these cabinets right here from the base game. I don't really use these all too often, and they're really nice. I feel like not that many people know, but they actually come in like a good amount of different swatches with different pictures on them. So there is actually a swatch that has like a sun. It looks like a sun. Maybe it's not, but it kind of looks like a sun. And I was like, oh my gosh, my Sim name is Sunny. I got, like, literally, y'all, that looks like a sun, right? So I was like, my Sim name is Sunny, her imaginary friend is Sunny, so I need to do that. So we have like some base game counters and cabinets. I used one of the store content fridges. I forgot what, I think it's like a vineyard set, I want to say. I liked it because it kind of had like the same like hinges as like the countertop, so I was like, let's use that. I also put the baker's station in here because I thought it was kind of cool, and it's kind of like a nice callback to Generation 1 with Yasmin in the Mint generation. By the way, if you want a link to the rules, I will leave them down below if you want to just like, you know, read over them. I really love the Not So Berry, like, it's so fun. So like I said earlier, I didn't really have all of the objects from the Craftsman set on the Sims 3 store, unfortunately, so I kind of had to like get creative and use a lot of the stuff from the base game. Luckily, there are a couple of Craftsman styled objects in the base game. Those chairs at the table, the bar stools, the cabinets, they kind of look kind of like Craftsman styled. I also ended up using the TV from Late Night in here, and then I realized that this living room is not that big, so I ended up like using some base game furniture. So I have like a base game chair and a base game love seat. We also used a base game rug in here as well, and then like that lamp, for example, is like kind of Craftsman, so I used that one. That's from the base game. I later went back and I replaced all the lights in the house with those Craftsman ones that you see now. The funny thing about this house though, now that I think about it, so normally when I do speed builds, you'll see, you know, me build the house from the ground up, but for whatever reason I didn't do that today. So what happened was, sometimes when I don't really know like how I want to build to be, or like how I want it to look or whatever, I'll like do some test building off camera so you can't see it, and that's kind of what I did for this house, and I love the way that it looked so much. I was like, no. Like, sometimes I'll delete it and like rebuild it from scratch for the video, but I was like, no. If I delete this, I am not gonna remember everything I did, and I love the shape and shell of the house, so I was like, I have got to use that again. So that's kind of why, like, you just saw when the video started, me just like jumping into like wallpaper and stuff like that. It's because I kind of built it off camera. But you know, this house is nice. Okay, I love the way this one turned out. I think it could be a little bit bigger, so maybe as we play and I need more rooms and stuff, I might just build on to this house. I didn't really have like an idea of us moving ever, but we could move, or I could just build like another house if I wanted to. But moving on over here, we have like this little greenhouse section. Originally in my brain, it was like a greenhouse that was converted into like a lab. So for this generation of the Not So Berry, Sunny is going to have to join the military career, and then she's going to have to eventually become an astronaut. I think that's like one of the branches. It's either military or it's the sciences one. I can't remember right now. But she has to basically join the astronaut branch because, you know, all her life she wanted space, so much so that she was actually thinking about space. That's literally like the prompt for it. So yeah, so we turned this like converted greenhouse into a little laboratory. There's also like a little mini hallway in this house. I don't really ever do hallways when I build ever, but it's kind of realistic. Like you see that in a lot of like, you know, real life houses, they have hallways usually. So I was like, why don't I just like make a little hub in the center? So the first room that we're going to be furnishing is Sunny's room. So this is like the, you know, the primary bedroom. I used like one of the little woodland beds, and I like paired them up with, I think those are like contemporary nightstands, I want to say. I can't remember, but I know the nightstands are from the Sims 3 store. I really like those, and I thought they look kind of, you know, like rustic in a way. I was trying my best to figure out what dresser to use in here, so you'll see that I go like back and forth. I pick a lot of different ones. I was going to use that one for a second, but then I settled on the one from the Supernatural pack because I thought it was kind of big and it took up a good amount of space. I also realized that this bedroom is like super big, so I was like, let's just use a really big Into the Future rug, and let's just like recolor it to kind of make it look a little bit more rustic. So that's kind of what I went with this one. It took me a while to kind of recolor everything, but I think it turned out pretty good. I also made sure to give Sunny a computer desk in here just because I knew that, you know, if she's gonna eventually be like, you know, an astronaut, we're gonna probably have to build some skills or something, or I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like a good idea to just have a computer in a Sims build, you know. And then I also decided to use like a little futuristic computer because normally, you know, I use like the one from the base game or for university, but then I realized that I have this little futuristic computer that I got from the store, and I've never really used it for anything, so I was like, you know what, let's just use it now. It kind of like blends in, right? You know, like it looks futuristic, but it also looks like it could be like regular, you know. And then the only other thing I did in here was, of course, I used that grilled cheese painting because, like, you know, it's yellow. But I also used a base game couch. It's like the same one from the living room, but I just basically recolored it. I also put a bookshelf in the hallway just to kind of like, you know, have something there. I realized that this house didn't have a bookshelf, and I was like, well, let's put it in the hallway, you know. And then I also ended up like recoloring the couch in here as well. It's kind of similar to the one that's out in the living room. Maybe this one was like a spare couch or something, but that's pretty much everything for this room. The only other thing I did was like, you know, replace the lights, and then I ended up like putting some art up, and then that's like pretty much it. I think I used the art from the Seasons pack, the one with the leaves and stuff on it, because I thought it was kind of cool. Oh, and I also put like a little plant in the corner too. But that's pretty much everything for this bedroom. So moving on to the bathroom. So for the bathroom, I knew I wanted this one to look a little bit more different than my usual bathrooms. You know, usually I do like a white tile or just like, you know, a colorful tile. So I found this flooring. I think it might be base game, but I found it and I thought it looked really cool up against the wallpaper. So I was like, why don't we kind of like play into that? So I put a window in here just to kind of let in a little bit more light. Originally, I was going to use the same cabinets as the ones in the kitchen, but then I was like, we can kind of mix it up a little bit. So I ended up using some other base game cabinets in here. I also used a base game toilet, and then for the shower, I think I used the one from the Seasons pack, I want to say. I really like that one. It's sometimes a little bit hard to recolor, but you know, I think it looks kind of cool. And then I ended up using like that really big like two-tiled mirror that I always use in all my builds, and it took up a good amount of space, but I think that's like everything for the bathroom. I did add some additional clutter like off camera. So for example, there's like a little soap dish above the toilet, and then I also used one of the little rustic plants from the Sims 3 store. I think it's like one of those trees. It comes from like the 3 Lakes set, I believe. But that's pretty much everything in the bathroom. Oh, I did put a runner in here too. So there's like a runner in the bathroom, but that's pretty much it for the bathroom. I think it blends in really nicely with like the rest of the house. Like, I really like the bathroom. And the last room that we're going to furnish is going to be the nursery. So like I said, when I first started building this house and furnishing it, I legit forgot about Sunny's imaginary friend. His name is also Sunny, by the way, but I kind of forgot about him. So I need to like go back and maybe put like a single bed in here or something. I think I'm going to eventually probably move him out, but I think for now he needs to at least have a bed. I mean, he could sleep on the couch, but you know, he can have a bed. But for right now though, this is just the nursery. So, you know, Sunny's name is Sunny, you know, and I have there's a lot of sunflower items in The Sims 3. So I was like, why don't we just like kind of make this nursery really bright and colorful? So I ended up using a couple of those cribs. I used the changing table, the rocking chair. I really tried my best to not use a lot of move objects when I was building this, because sometimes when you use move objects, as you probably already know, it can cause some routing errors, and I didn't really want to have a lot of those. So I turned on move objects a little bit for like the rocking chair and maybe like some other little small items, but for the most part, this house was built with move objects turned off. I was going to use that really big like sciencey picture because, you know, Sunny is going to, you know, be an astronaut, but it just did not fit the vibes that I wanted in this room. So I deleted it and I used some of those like rustic or like Hughesman set paintings in the nursery, and I thought that looked a lot better in here as well. I also put like the couch from the Seasons pack, and I also reused that same like, you know, Craftsman styled lamp. I thought it was kind of cute. But that's pretty much everything for this build though. I'd imagine that Sunny is gonna have like 2 kids, or at least more than one, so I knew I wanted to put like 2 cribs in here, but eventually I'll rebuild as I need to, or like, you know, maybe build another house if I actually need to or whatever. But that's pretty much everything for this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. I am going to leave a link for this build down below. If you want to check it out and download it, feel free to. If you want to edit anything as well, feel free to. You know, I don't really mind that much. The rest of the build is just going to be me doing some landscaping, so I tried to like find some plants that kind of blend in with the surrounding areas. So I used like some of the trees from the university pack and some shrubs. I think one of the shrubs is from Into the Future, so I tried to make it look nice, and I'm really pleased with the end result. So I'm gonna leave everything linked down below, yo. I will see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!